Welcome back to another episode of the Lead In Groove. This is Brian Jacobs, and tonight we are talking about a stupid meme that I saw on Facebook calling the 6 months from July through December 1979 the most pivotal time in music. Well, I'm assuming that's just for alternative music, but let's discuss that. There's a few releases on there that they point out. B-52's debut album, Devo's Duty Now for the Future, Talking Heads' Fear of Music, XTC Drums and Wires, Gang of Four's Entertainment, Blondie Eat the Beat, The Police's Regatta de Blanc, Bob Marley's Survival, Madness One Step Beyond, The Specials debut album, The Jam Setting Suns, and Clash London Calling. So, obviously, I've got issue with a few of these, but B-52's debut album, July 6, 1979, I have no issue with this. Planet Claire, Dance This Mess Around, Rock Lobster, and a cover of Tony Hatch's Downtown. Absolutely fantastic release. Everybody knows these songs. I mean, my kids knew this song from cartoons. So, absolutely, this release is ingrained in pop culture. No argument here. Devo's Duty Now for the Future, came out July '79. It's her second studio album, so for me, not a pivotal release. Also, I don't think there were any real hits from this album. Now, it is an album that think is important, and it was certainly influential on other bands, but I'm not ready to call it pivotal. Their debut release, sure, but the second studio album with no real hits on it, I'm gonna argue that. Talking Heads' Fear of Music, released August 3rd, 1979. Again, I'm going to say not pivotal, as this is their third album. It's got some great tracks. Life During Wartime, Memories Can't Wait, and Heaven. But is it on the same album as their debut album with Psycho Killer? I don't think so. XTC's Drums and Wires, August 17th, 1979. This is their third release. However, Making Plans for Nigel is on this album. It's likely their biggest hit, and certainly launched them a bit more into popular culture. But I'm still going to give this a pass. I think there's other albums that we should be talking about ahead of that. Gang of Four, Entertainment. Great debut album. I Found the Essence Rare, Natural's Not in It, and of course their biggest hit, Damaged Goods, all on this album. Fantastic album. I think absolutely deserves to be on there. Blondie Eat to the Beat, released September 28th, 1979. Blondie's fourth studio album. So, I think, at this point, they're losing their punky edge. I think they're all getting to be better musicians. Pivotal? I don't think so. Important in the sense that, I think it's the first album that we really look at Debbie Harry as a great singer. Songs like Dreaming, Union City Blue, Atomic, and a song that I don't think gets enough credit, Shayla, really does show off the girl can sing. It's a good album. Pivotal, I take exception to that. The Police, Regata de Blanc, October 2nd, 1979, their second studio album, and I have to admit, I am a fanboy of anything Stuart Copeland, so um, it's difficult for me to argue this album. Message in a Bottle, Walking on the Moon, The Bed's Too Big Without You, a bit of a dub song, still a great Police song, and what's it called no time this time is almost a surf punk song. I mean, there's a lot of diversity in the album. I like it. I love it. I'm not sure if we can call it pivotal because I mean I think they've got other albums that were more important than this album, but I like it. I still play it. I still listen to it. Another album released the same day, October 2nd, 1979, Bob Marley's Survival. I have no idea why this made it onto this list. Yes, it's Bob Marley. It's great. It's fantastic. Bob Marley can do no wrong. But it's his 11th studio album. Um, Again, several other albums I would put on here before this. Just a week later, October 19th, 1979, Madness, One Step Beyond. Hell yeah. So many great songs on this album. Obviously, the title track, One Step Beyond, is a cover of Prince Buster's One Step Beyond, My Girl, Nightboat to Cairo, The Prince, another song about their hero, Prince Buster. Hell, even the band's name, Madness, comes from a Prince Buster song. And then just to make the album a little bit more special, they throw in a cover of Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake. I don't know that there's a more perfect ska song. I love the album. Absolutely deserves to be there. Um, Another album released the same day, just as important. The Specials' debut album. I don't even know where to start. Gangsters, um, a great song. A Message to You, originally by Dandy Livingston, released on Trojan Records, and I mean, so many great songs on this album. But to me, and there's so many other punk kids that were in the ska scene, this album is of so much importance because not only is it their debut album, and not only did it launch the Two Tone record label, it launched the Two Tone anti-racism movement, which it was just so important, at that time, and certainly very influential on me, albeit years later, before I finally heard them. But so better late than never. The Jam, November 16th, 1979, released their fourth album, Setting Suns. Eaton Rifles is on this album, likely one of my more favorite Jam songs. I'm not going to call the album pivotal, but the band, absolutely. The Jam is so pivotal to the punk rock movement. I don't think we would have half the bands we have since then without the Jam. Again, Eaton Rifles, just on that album, such a wonderful album. The last album on this list was The Clash's London Calling. I am and will forever be a Clash fanboy. Saint Joe is, probably the only celebrity that I cried when they died. And the bands, to come from after the Clash with Big Audio Dynamite and Joe Strummer's solo work, all just such important work. This album, London Calling, I'll say pivotal because again, they were gaining traction, and this came out. I think it kind of launched them into superstardom. Guds of Brixton, Rudy Can't Fail, and of course the title track London Calling on this album. Uh, just again, you'll never hear me say anything bad about the Clash. So a couple albums that I think were missed from this list that absolutely deserve to bump a couple others off the list. The Slits debut album, 1979, September of 79. The Slits released Cut. How this got missed, I have no idea. I mean, just such a amazing release, so important to bring on. I mean, we wouldn't have other, the Go-Go's, the Bangles. I mean, so many other great girl bands, and of course Budgie, that later went on to be with Susie and the Banshees, took over drumming for the Slits after this release, and up there with Stuart Copeland, Budgie's, probably my number one, number two drummer of all time. So again, how the Slits got overlooked on that, I have no idea. Another album that I think absolutely needs to be on there, if we're going to be looking in 1979, would be from November 2nd, The Dam's Machine Gun Etiquette. Another just absolutely phenomenal album. Love Song, likely my favorite Damned song, is on there. I Just Can't Be Happy and Smash It Up, also on there. Great album. Needs to be on the list. If you've got you disagree, shoot me a message. I'd love to argue with you. There are some other great albums released that year, but came out earlier in the year, and the meme was specifically July through December, so sticking to the second half of the year.